While this year's draft class is a far cry at wide receiver from what we saw last year, it's still a decent group. Tune in. Let's see. Top 12 receivers in this year's draft class. And with that, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to D-Fun of course. Please, Jesus. Yeah, there we go. Please like and subscribe if you guys enjoy this second to last position, of course, as we get through these 2025 NFL Draft Prospect Positional Rankings. Yes, of course, the draft is, it's a lot of courses, but it is Easter Sunday, and it's a little bit weird because the draft, I don't even know. The draft is usually like a week later or something like that. But anyways, yes, the draft will be, it's on Thursday, so I'm not going to have any, I might have some first-round reactions, you'll see. Anyway, though, yeah, the draft is on Thursday. Get ready for mock draft coming on Thursday at 3. Outside of that, though, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Anyway, though, if you haven't seen the scale yet for the running back came out yesterday, that positional ranking. We went through 10 guys. There's a lot of running backs in this class that I'll talk about in terms of, when we briefly go through them on Wednesday. Wednesday is my big board, top 10 NFL prospects in this year's draft. Anyway, though, I'll talk about that more tomorrow for sure. Again, we have quarterbacks coming up tomorrow. Then, of course, top 10 prospects and all that jam. Anyway, though, yes, 95 plus, that'll be your perfect prospect. If you have a guy who's this good, well, yeah, I don't think it's never going to happen. 92 to 95, perennial All-Pro. 89 to 92, Pro Bowl talent. 86 to 89, we saw, someone close. Maybe we'll see someone here. Rookie, again, started the minicamp. 82 to 86, Jesus. But more bust potential. Will be good in 2 years. 78 to 82. 76 to 78, potential to be good at some story, yeah. 75 to 76, average, usually. Dead average. They should be a starter, but they're not going to really be anything better than that. 73 to 75, yeah. Probably, I don't know if we're going to do a tier list. They're going to probably maybe be a D tier. 71 to 73, traits to be a good or reliable backup, which is always needed. 69, nice. 71, those are the guys who are probably going to be on the bench. 66 to, 69, nice. Tackling dummy, again, they'll probably be on the bottom of the roster. And yes, the last guy, 60 to 66, which there are actually a decent amount of guys now that I think about it. Here, they will probably either be a UDFA or, just a camp body at that point. Anyway, though, our honorable mentions, of course, a receiver, I will be talking about 12 guys, so that means I think we're going to have probably roughly around 5. There are a lot of receivers I could have put in these honorable mentions, to be honest with you guys. It's definitely not a group that I love. This is, again, nothing close to the draft we had last year, but there's still a lot of interesting guys to talk about. So, let's talk about one that was a freaking quarterback when he came into college, of course, that being Nick Nash, who, again, led the country in receiving yards for receivers outside of, Harold Fannin, who we did talk about in the tight end rankings, so you can go see that. But yeah, you saw him, he kind of gave that up in 2021. But yeah, he actually had some numbers there. He had a crazy career, though. He started again as a quarterback, was very mobile. As you can see with the rushing, he definitely had that ability. But again, it said, yeah, I'm probably not going to be going in the NFL like this, considering I'm worse than Anthony Richardson with half the arm he's ever had. And I'm going to go to receiver. And, of course, he's not the fast receiver, doesn't create the most separation. But the numbers he put up in 2024 were crazy in a 6-year career. Again, he's older for sure. But, I mean, when you put up these numbers for a guy who, really only had, 1 other year as, a true receiver, it's pretty crazy when you think about it. So, yeah, he going off last year. This definitely puts him in position to get drafted. Do I think he's definitely, a top 10 guy? Receiver, absolutely not, but you can't deny this production. Especially, again, I'm not gonna act like, oh yeah, again, let me look at the past, let's say 10 years. Oh yeah, if you led the country in receiving yards, again, we're talking about college football. You should be a pretty good NFL player. That's not true, because I get guaranteed at least half of those guys you've never heard of that, again, led the country in receiving yards at least one of those years. So I just got to put that out there. But I will say these numbers are very encouraging. Also, again, overall, he's a decent player, but let's be honest, he's definitely he's not amazing. Xavier Williams is next, or Savion. I don't want to give the Quentin Johnson, comparison, but there are some things that are very similar in their games. He can rush the ball. He can Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel got a hell of a amount of carries, but he has that ability. It's not the Deebo Samuel guy at all. He's much better route runner than him. But yes, I do like the receiving ability a lot. He's actually decent downfield, which is really surprising for a guy like him. But hey, that's big. He will be a guy who, again, from TCU, who should get a lot of looks in the NFL for sure, because he just has that rare ability, to be a very versatile weapon. It'll be nice to see, though, if he can, refine some of his routes, because there's a little bit of frustration there. Brew McCoy's up next. Again, he came out from USC, where he really didn't do anything. Didn't play in 2021. I can't tell you why, to be honest with you. Past year's kind of frustrating overall with the numbers, but he's definitely a gifted athlete overall. He can create separation pretty easily. I'm just be honest, he just was never really their number one guy option in that offense. Really frustrating to see that overall. Again, we can see he was with Jalen Hyatt and Cedric Tillman back in 2022, and of course, some other guys in 2023, it's kind of hard for him to, again, really emerge there. Again, kind of frustrating 2024 season overall, though. But he's a good athlete. He shows a lot of NFL traits, and that's why I think he, again, at the very least, should get a chance of getting drafted. Caden Prather, he never really was this fantastic receiver at all, but, again, I'll be honest, when I watched him, again, for Maryland, when they played UConn earlier, again, first game of the season, this past season, he absolutely, like, just carved them up, and I just looked at him there, I'm like, yeah, this guy, he's got NFL talent. I'd be honest with you guys, he should be a guy who, again, makes a roster, for sure. Jalen Noel, the other Iowa State receiver, he's not as good as Jayden Higgins, who we'll get to in a little bit, but he's still a good player, like, definitely good red zone field. It's just the biggest thing. Does he have that top-end speed that will translate to the NFL? I'd say maybe, but he definitely doesn't have the route running ability and maybe the physicality that you might need there at receiver, especially considering he's going to have to fight guys off to create separation with his hands a little bit more than what we saw at Iowa State the past 2 seasons. But overall, still a very savvy player, and I really hope the Rams, maybe go take a stab at him. That's all I got for Jalen Noel and these honorable mentions. Let's get into our first guy who, if you've seen Troy Franklin, yeah, I think you can know who this guy is.
Loss of 2 on that play. Fake the quarterback run. Gabriel loads up. He's got his man, and it's a touchdown to Tez Johnson.
And the first guy we'll be talking about today is the #1 receiver from Oregon this past season, that being Tez Johnson, who again played for Troy and Oregon. Troy, he was a pretty fun guy to watch, but really didn't ever get the consistent exposure to actually be proven as a good player or a guy that people have actually heard of. But when he transferred to Oregon in 2023 with Bond TEX, he had a fantastic season, got those downfield targets. Last year, not as much. He was basically just a screen underneath guy. Yeah, I think maybe like 5 or 6 actual targets, like I'm going to say like 30 yards downfield. But that's kind of how Dylan Gabriel in this offense worked again with Dan Lanning. And also, the separation totals really weren't what you might have thought in terms of the volume. But again, when it comes to yards of separation per your route in 2023, they were really good to see. So yes, again, a lot of his 2 seasons are definitely molded differently. Like again, you saw a lot. He was featured a lot more as a YAC, as a senior. But as a junior, he was used a lot more as a guy, who might be a little bit better downfield. So that, again, downfield ability definitely was shown in 2023. So that, again, if he didn't have the same 2023 season that he did have, I don't know if he would be as, I wouldn't say surefire, but as, reliable in terms of, again, overall grade that I could have given him as, again, with the film that I saw in 2023. I got a proper stat. But yeah, last year, still a pretty solid player. Either way, though, his hands they're okay. I'm not going to act like he's not going to drop ball. I just don't think he really has, like, in his, like, overall, again, skill set to be a guy that's going to really make anything more than, like, a decent catch. Not because, like, again, his hands are bad. I just don't think that's part of his game, which I think is okay. Short routes are always crisp. He's usually actually ahead of the quarterback, which is a little bit of an issue, kind of a timing thing. But overall, his short routes are usually precise, so, again, that's going to be really good. Medium routes are always... I will say he doesn't create as much separation on them. And sometimes, again, especially those out routes, he isn't as consistent on. But on a down-to-down basis, it's going to be good. His deep routes are, all, again, kind of like it's the part of his game I think there's a little bit of a hole in terms of, again, the overall, what I was able to see on film from him. But, again, like I said, down-to-down basis and some of, again, the more... challenging routes that I've seen him run have actually been done pretty well. His deep ball tracking, again, also isn't, again, the exposure really isn't there, but I will say, from what I did see, overall, I had a pretty good handle on it. Speed, he's a pretty fast guy. I'd probably say quick more than, again, downfield speed, but still, he's a guy who can definitely get downfield. Again, we talk about his comparison, I think just good to go under right now, Tutu Atwell. He isn't a burner, but everything else is, like, identical from the 2 guys coming out. Almost identical. Acceleration, he gets going really quick, especially up the line. That's why, yes, his release might not be the most strong, but he's definitely able to get around with it. His route efficiency's always been solid. I think his catch radius is just something he'll never really be able to get better at because he's just not very big, not really that strong either. It's kind of just how it is. His jump ball ability, though, I think is actually pretty respectable for a guy at his stature. He can't battle guys in the air to get the ball. Red zone feel is decent. It's nothing crazy, though. I just don't think it's really comes natural. He, again, pretty decent route tree. I will say, though, that some of those, again, outbreaking routes, he's not going to be a guy you can really consistently get the ball to because either the quarterback's not going to be on time with him again, and also the way he runs the routes, again, you got to have a quarterback with a freaking hose. At the top of his route, he is going to create a lot of separation. Again, that's probably one of his better skills overall. Again, very consistently, he's beating the guys there. His release, again, I think it's okay. I just think that, again, him being able to get off the line really fast, makes a guy like, I don't know, freaking... Let's say Jalen Johnson have to take that extra step because, again, if he didn't, he'd get burned. His elusiveness for yak yardage-wise, he does make guys miss pretty consistently, but the fact that, again, he can't always shake it off is a little bit of an issue there. Hand fluidness, again, this is in terms of, again, creating separation with your hands, knocking guys off, or, again, faking guys off like that. Overall, not too bad. Again, this can go a lot of different ways. Strength, yeah, it's not great. He's small, but again, even for his size, I think he can still break tackles once in a while. His run blocking is not very good, and of course, he's decently athletic, and I do like his potential as a guy who could be a decent slot, maybe even outside even. Like, he's definitely got the release for it. But 74.6, I definitely see more. I don't even know if he'll be a Z, though. I don't think that's the greatest position for it. But yeah, 2-2's comparison, because they run the routes very, very similar. I just think 2-2's a lot faster, or not a lot faster, but a decent bit faster. That's all I got for Tez Johnson, though.
Out of the shotgun. On second down, Hoover with plenty of time, lets it fly. It is caught. It's inside the 15.
Now it is Jack Bech, who, oh my gosh, I wanted to say Cooper Kupp, guys. I really did. I mean, you can call me racist or something, but yeah. Again, first probably like 10 snaps watching film, like, yeah, that's Cooper Kupp, but you know he's not. So yeah, 6'2", 207 though, decent size for a guy who might not, always play that way. Again, he might even play up to that. But yeah, LSU and TCU is where he played. Didn't really do much at LSU. I'm going to be honest, I probably only watch. I mean, a little bit of his film was freshman, but that's really why I got the Cooper Kupp thing. But yeah, TCU in 2023, he was injured. He kind of just sucked, to be honest. I don't think he really, again, especially like training camp there for TCU, he really didn't emerge. Last year, though, he was their best player on their entire team. I think I can say pretty certainly. But yeah, 62 catches, 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns. Very good yak guy underneath. I will say, though, his deep routes I really like as well. Again, I just didn't get to see as much of it because, again, they didn't really use him that way last year, considering their offensive line was not the greatest. With that said, though, his hands are just overall not that crazy great. I just think he drops passes more than you'd like, but still not the end of the world. Short routes have never been the most precise, but, I mean, you're going to work with it considering, just kind of those sit stuff. Medium routes have always been really good. He's, again, good at creating separation there at the top of the route, which, again, is very, very good when it comes to those sort of stem things you'll see at the intermediate part of the field. Deep routes, like I said, didn't really get to see too much of it. But again, when you look at the ball tracking, which I think is exceptional for his overall, I wouldn't even say archetype, but profile. The deep routes, he doesn't actually, sometimes he runs off the ball with the route, like some of those crossing routes he's run, and again, his just overall instincts and able to, again, in confidence, really get to the football, again, really just show there. Speed, he's not that fast of a guy. The reason I say it's below average is because there are times where he just can't outrun a guy, pretty simply, just going to be honest there. Again, on some of those underneath, routes, we're talking about like a drag route, he's not going to be able to get off the line as fast and simply just be able to get into it. His acceleration, I think, is a little bit better, though, because can get off the line. He might not be great at it, but overall, I just think the extension speed just isn't there. Route efficiency has never been his biggest thing, but it's not bad. Catch radius is decent for his size. Jump ball ability, I do like, but it's not like he's going to make every single play. Red zone feel is decent. I do like, I will say his route, again, overall, what you're going to see there in the makeup isn't that crazy, just because of the fact that there are certain routes that he's going to run one way, and if you try to have him run in a different way, it's just never going to work, simply because he just won't get open off of it. Yes, at the top of the route, he does create decent separation, but I wouldn't say it's anything more than, again, a quarterback is going to have to throw a decent football most times for it to, again, be a completion. His release is, like I said, he's got a good power release, which I like a lot. Again, if he really develops some sort of diamond or, like, hesitation off of that, I think that'll really keep guys guessing and make him, again, not have to be, again, use his hands as much in press. And speaking of that, his hand fluidness is not the greatest. Loose, again, in terms of breaking tackles and just overall ability, to get off guys in space. I just think sometimes I'll say, like, I don't even know. It's just weird because there's these smaller corners where they are able to they're just able to make contact with him. When I'm like, yeah, you could have just blown by that guy. Strength, yeah, he's gonna knock over those smaller guys. Again, it's more just in space. I'm like, yeah, you probably could have just got by him like very easily. You didn't have to run over him there. But yeah, very good strength. Run blocking, it's not the end of the world. I mean, it's decent enough. He's got okay athleticism. I'm not gonna he wasn't anything special. And I do like his potential a lot though, because again, some of these yak traits, and again, goes to the right scheme, again with the deep ball tracking, could really work out well for him. But yeah, 75.9. I do like Puka comparisons. I mean, I had to do it with someone, guys. But yeah, Jack Bech, Puka Nacua. That might be a pretty insane trade for him. But hey, he's a decent prospect, guys.
Rocco Bech floating one deep. He's got a man. The catch is made. Higgins goes to the end.
On to the other Iowa State receiver, that being Jayden Higgins, who had a very nice senior. He had a season last year, I guess. Very similar numbers to Jalen Noel, but a lot more impressive and tough plays, to say the least. I will say 2023, I wouldn't say it left a lot to be desired, but I would really just say it was more promising, to be honest with you guys. But yeah, He kind of really just showed the overall game that we wanted to see last year. Yeah, that's about it for him there. His hands are elite. I think he can play that pretty consistently. I mean, it's not more than, he might drive a pass once in a while, but like consistent in terms of the reliability, it's really good. And also, he's gonna make a lot of the harder catches that other guys just won't be able to make. Short routes are very good. Overall, just a very, very, very savvy route runner. He definitely has put a lot of work in with this, and I think maybe coming in, he wasn't the sharpest guy, but again, those short routes are always timed out, right? Medium routes gets really open with it, and I will say his deep routes are very, very precise as well. I love his route running overall. Deep ball tracking, I'm not going to say it's as good as a guy like Rome Odunze would be if Rome Odunze was as good as again, with his deep routes, but I will say it's still, it's very close to it. His body control is off the charts, and he just knows where the ball is going, even before, like, if quarterback just, like, completely duck, it could still end up in Jayden Higgins' hands. So, his speed, it's definitely limited. He's not going to, like, completely, like, he's not a burner at all. Again, in terms of, again, like, those screens, stuff like that, that's not part of his game you're going to really want to have him work with. His speed also isn't something that's going to create insane separation either, but I think it's okay enough where, yes, he can get open enough on those vertical routes. Acceleration, I think, is a little bit better, but it's still nothing special. His route efficiency actually is really solid, and this comes in more into the fact that, again, he's able to run pretty precise routes. He gets through them pretty well. Catch radius is obviously very good with his size. His jump ball ability is also great. Again, talking those back shoulder plays, automatic with those. Red zone fuel is definitely something he's still working on. I think it's just, again, doesn't come natural, and also, again, in terms of, again, his scoring, I think he had at least 10 more targets that could have been touchdowns. Again, most guys it's like 3 or 4, but for him, he absolutely could have had more touchdowns if he just, ran route a little bit differently. Route nuance, I'm going to give him 80 because, yes, again, most of it's basically just stem off of freaking, back shoulder, go downfield type of thing. But short routes-wise, you can have a lot of different things. And again, there's also a lot of variations you can put in, again, where you can actually, again, help the offense to the point where, again, it's a lot more versatile, where you don't have to have him running this exact route or it won't work. At the top of the separation, he actually doesn't create too well. I think it's more the fact that he's able to use, again, that down vertical threat to the point where, they're going to stick with him. Release has always been an issue for him. I think it's a lot better than it was, but it's still really bad, guys. Like, if you get him on the line, he's cooked. Hand fluidness is a big part of that, though. I will say that has gotten a lot better, again, to the point where, yes, sometimes even if he doesn't get off the line, he's still be able to, again, fight guys off. Elusiveness in terms of yak yardage, he's not going to shake and bake in the open field. It's just not going to happen. He can break tackles, though. I think his run blocking it's definitely not great, but again, it's probably just like not. It's gonna be, you're gonna have to accept it. I like his athleticism a lot though, because it's very rare for a guy like his size to be able to, I'm just honest, have ballet feet, something like that. Potential, I like him a lot. Still not like too sold. I think he definitely has, maybe Pro Bowl, who knows? But yeah, we got Michael Pittman. It's again a very similar comparison. I will say Michael Pittman definitely coming out was a little bit faster and maybe had not as good hands. But Michael Pittman has definitely turned into maybe a respectable number one again if that's your cup of tea. But 75.4, pretty solid showing for Jayden.
Has been outstanding.
But they're throwing on the first play, and Cook takes a shot to the end zone. Burton wide open.
Up next is a guy named Luther Burden, who had a really not very promising senior or junior or a season there for Missouri last season after a 2023 season where he dominated the SEC and looked like a top 10 pick. With that said, though, still a lot of the same traits and the good usage as a runner gave me a lot of good feedback from still a lackluster production season in terms of production. But I will say Brady Cook sucks, so that's part of it. He's freaking Jacoby Brissett, freaking white Jacoby Brissett, if you want to put it like that. But yeah, at Missouri in 2023, he popped off. He had a lot of underneath routes. He ran a lot of vertical routes. It was just a complete good showing. But Cody Schrader leaving from Missouri kind of left him at a lack in terms of their ability, use play action and stuff like that. And also, Luther was used a lot more as an underneath guy and just really didn't have the same downfield presence, which kind of sucked. Also, the numbers just really weren't there. Either had some very bad games overall, and just wasn't the same player that we saw in 2023, if I'm being honest. But still, there were even better. I will say, wasn't the same player again, but in terms of some of the improvements I needed to see from him, he definitely made them in some ways. So, again, that is good. But either way, his hands have never really been something that I've really trusted. Again, some people are like, oh, yeah, his hands are fine. But I mean, there's times where he doesn't catch a pass back short. I'm like, yeah, he's got to make that play. Short routes have always been solid. Medium routes are a little bit shaky. I will say his deep routes from what we saw, again, specifically in 2023, he's definitely, I'm going to say advanced, but it's definitely those corner routes and outbreaking stuff he's gotten a lot better at. But yeah, the medium routes have always been a little bit of an issue for him, where, again, he doesn't always hit his spots. It's perfectly, again, maybe instead of in the 6, he's in the 5, and again, just completely screws things up. Speed, he's got good speed. I don't think it's off the charts. Again, it's definitely good enough to run open in the open field for sure. But it's not it's nothing insane, but it's still really good. he can definitely make plays with it. Acceleration, that's where it's a little bit different. I'd probably say his elite acceleration because, again, if you get in the ball in the open field, again, on an under-breaking route, he's going to take off, and it's going to probably be a house call, to be honest with you, because he gets going pretty well. Route efficiency's always been decent. Again, when it comes back, again, if you can, again, accelerate and decelerate really well, your route efficiency most likely will be good. Catch radius is horrible. It's got to be on his hands most likely. Again, talk about Deebo Samuel, very similar. That big thing that pisses me off about Luther and Deebo Samuel, the catch radiuses are just not very good. Jump ball ability, not terrible. Still not very good, though. There are plays I'm like, yeah, that was a complete mess. Like, what is Brady Cook doing? Route nuance isn't, it's just, he only runs like 5 or 6 routes, so I really don't know yet with that. Red zone field is actually not too bad. I just don't think he always runs the right routes with it. He does create a lot of separation at the top of the route, again, just really consistently there. I think that's just something that comes with him. His release, I don't even know what I gave that. 64, I guess? I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of his release, though. His elusiveness in terms of yak yardage is off the charts. He's going to make guys miss, I wouldn't say nearly every time, but very, very consistently. He should be atop the league in that sort of, separation type of thing. He still breaks a lot of tackles as well, maybe not as much as just straight up evading them, though. His hand fluidness is also decent for a guy who, again, isn't really stressed like there. Run blocking is actually not too bad. His athleticism is very good. And, yes, again, I do like his potential as a yak threat, even if he's maybe not the most bona fide or liked receiver after, not a great season. But still, 76.8 overall grade for him. And we got Deebo as comparison because, what am I supposed to say? They both have terrible catch radiuses.
Cruz protecting Fafita on first down. Quick pop, McMillan turns the corner, loses his defender. Now he's off to the races. McMillan hopping his way.
Up now is a guy who has a lot of good things going for him, that being Tet McMillan. Again, many people think if it's not Trav, it's him. Well, we'll see in a little bit. But yeah, Tet McMillan's coming off a very strong junior season there at Arizona for, again, a team that was very disappointing. But again, overall, even though he wasn't as, productive as you might have wanted to see him against Travis Hunter in that matchup, again, must-see matchup again. If you want to go see that, you can. Definitely go on YouTube for that. But I will say, as a sophomore, I didn't probably his breakout year, but last year in on offense, that was definitely a lot more focused on him. He was still great. So yeah, back-to-back, just amazing seasons there. Tet, the biggest thing that, again, if you want to see like what makes him like different is his size in the mold of his ability to still run decent routes. That's probably the best way to put it. His hands are elite. He doesn't drop passes. I'm not going to say it's DeAndre Hopkins. I still think him and Larry Fitzgerald, that again being DeAndre Hopkins and Larry Fitzgerald, have the best hands coming out of the draft in NFL history. I don't really think it's even that close. But his hands are also elite. He doesn't drop passes really ever, and also he makes a lot of the big-time catches. Short routes, it's okay. I just don't think he's always like too stressed about it either. Like again, some of those like zig routes are like even like I don't even freaking know. You have him like a short slew of like whatever that is. They got a weird playbook. But yeah, whatever that was, yeah, it just didn't really look great. But on a down-and-out basis, it's fine. His medium routes are definitely really good. Probably should put that there. Now that I think about it, I don't know what I was doing here. 89, and then we got an 87, right? But yeah, he does run decent medium routes. Deep routes have always been really good for him. He just crazy is that extra level. His deep ball tracking is actually really good. I just don't know in terms of the over the shoulder stuff if he's like ever been the most natural with it though. Probably the only criticism with that. Speed, it's solid. I don't know if it's really good. I'd probably just say it's solid. In the NFL, I'm like, that's going to get you open, but it's not going to be like, oh my God, you got to freaking think about it every single snap. Acceleration. Okay. This is the problem with him. Especially when he, like, terms of like a double move or something where he has to take 1 or 2 more cuts, he's not always going to be able to get out of it the way you want him to. That's probably the best thing I can say there. Route efficiency is awesome for his size. Catch radius is like really freaking good. You can throw him a yard off, he'll still make a play. Jump ball ability, I'm gonna give him a 90. I think there's definitely a little bit more room to grow here, but yeah, he makes most of those catches. Red zone feel is decent. Creativity in terms of route nuance, not great, but at the same time, again, you can still from rely to run a lot of the same things out of the same route. So again, that kind of boosts it there. Like I said, he doesn't separate great at the top of the route. He just doesn't. It's more or less just because again he doesn't break out super well, which again I think is an issue, but. At the same time, there's a lot of routes you're just not going to have him run, so it's okay. Release, it's okay. He's still working on it. He sometimes struggles to get off the line. Elusiveness is decent. He's going to be able to break tackles. His hand fluidness is really good, advanced for his level, but at the same time, it's not like he's, just completely creating separation again, like half speed and still getting open there. Strength. Not great. I don't think, again, in terms of the yak yardage, I think he definitely improved there. His run blocking is okay. Athleticism is really good. Again, the size and the body control you just don't really find too often. His potential is obviously very, very good. He's got an 8.6 overall grade. We got T. Higgins' comparison because I'm not going to say he's like Emeka Evans at all. But yes, I like the T. Higgins comparison a lot considering neither of those guys are really going to be considered anywhere near a guy like Tyreek Hill.
On the ground. It's a 7-yard penalty. Lamps it. Deep down the field, connects with Ayomanor. Taken down near the 10-yard line.
I'd probably say 97% of you guys have probably never heard of this guy. That, of course, being Elic. I think it's Ayomanor or Ayomanor. I can't pronounce it either. But yeah, he's not the most exciting receiver in the world, but there's a lot of, like, in terms of, like, the refinement things that he's gotten a lot better at, which I gotta give him credit for. Last year, not really the most exciting season overall, but again, with a Stanford team that really wasn't that impressive, he was a solid player. Yes, 2023 was probably his better year, if you want to say so, but yeah, on film. Really, the big things I noticed, again, from last year was the fact that, again, and some of these, like, bigger corners, he was actually able to, like, really win on those the guys. I'd even say dominate in some ways pretty consistently, which, again, is pretty rare for a guy who you might not think that out of. But, again, decent size overall. His hands are really good, and he doesn't really drop many passes. His short routes, again, for a guy who you might not think would be great with it, actually runs them really well. His medium routes, not as good, I'd probably say, but overall still creates some separation off of it. And again, the deep routes are definitely something he's definitely limited in, which again is part of the reason it's this low. I don't think maybe he runs like 3 or 4 posts a season. Deep ball tracking is okay, but again, at the same time, like you haven't seen a lot of it. I think his speed is straight up dead average, maybe a little better. It's good enough for sure, but like it's not like again many burners or anything like that. Acceleration I do like a little bit, which again does give him some hope when you get to the yak yardage overall, but it's still not very good, or it's still not great. His route efficiency's always been again stronger part of his game. He does have a decent catch radius for his size. Jump ball ability is actually probably really good, to be honest, because if you watch his, like, I wouldn't say like highlight plays, but maybe the plays where you're like, yeah, how did he make that play? That comes into play. His red zone fuel is actually really good. Again, part of the reason he was able to get those touchdowns is because, again, he was able to find those, again, really just against the zone and be able to find those areas there, or soft spots. Route nuance, again, he's going to run like 5 or 6 routes, my guess, like pretty consistently in the league, which kind of sucks. I like to see him run some other stuff, but that's what he's good at, so we're going to just kind of roll with it. At the top of his route, I do like some of the creativity I see there. Again, he does get off the line, again, get up pretty good there, but at the same time, like, not great. Release is never been a big part of his game. Again, I think he's definitely have to develop some sort of counter to what we've seen so far for him to, be a consistent guy as an X, which he probably will be. He just doesn't make guys miss. He just doesn't. It's pretty simple. He's gonna either go down or maybe break a tackle. That's also probably not like, again, makes catch, probably gonna get tackled. That's kind of how it is. Hand fluidness, I do think, is actually not too bad. His run blocking is okay. Dead athlete, just kind of a boring athlete, to be honest with you guys. His potential isn't anything insane. He might have a couple 600-yard seasons. 73.5, though, great for him. And Juju is my comparison, because Juju wasn't that great of a athlete coming out either.
Enjoy. Manning pulls it from blue all day. Take his shot. Why not? There he is. Isaiah Bond.
Our next guy is a complete idiot, that being Isaiah Bond. You might be thinking, oh yeah, he's just going to completely crap on him. Well, partly I probably will be, but like he's a talented player. I can't deny that. Yeah, was he not that kind of underwhelming at Texas last year? Most definitely. But at the same time, I'm not going to act like Quinn Ewers is that great of a quarterback either. And yeah, I think Ark Manning would have been a better fit for him because him and Ark actually had a pretty good connection there. His speed wasn't utilized well really at all either. I mean, it was used decently at Alabama, again, his one season with Jalen Railroad, but I think they definitely need another season to really get going there. But last year with Quinn Ewers, they just did not have a good rapport at all. He got open pretty consistently, I got to say that, but overall, kind of just a frustrating year from him. Last season also with all those DUIs and just kind of being a complete idiot. Again, I just saw the combine. Yeah, he's definitely not the most likable guy. His hands actually aren't too bad. I think he definitely is, again, NFL caliber again, in terms of some of the fastballs we'll be getting. But again, he's not going to be making any insane catches. His short routes have always just not really been that great. I do like his medium routes, though, in terms of consistency you see with them, but overall they're a little bit choppy, which is something he's going to definitely have to improve on. He has definitely, I'd say, a little bit more refined deep routes, and I think just overall a little more comfortability, which is really good. But at the same time, he does run himself off of plays sometimes. His deep ball tracking is absolutely elite. I don't think it's off the charts, but again, in terms of those deep targets, he was doing his very best to get to the ball. He does have pretty good wheels overall. They're not the best in this draft, though, so again, I'm not going to go crazy, but he's got really good speed. Acceleration is off the charts. He's just going to completely get going, and he's going to be gone. The biggest thing here, you got to have that extra step where you got to be able to, again, unless you have insane instincts or reaction, you're going to get burned. His route efficiency is not actually that good. Again, it's, like I said, his short routes are just not very good. The fact, again, he just kind of just goes all over the place. Again, like it takes him an extra 4 steps to actually make the route go. It's just kind of frustrating. His catch radius isn't great, but it's not awful. His jump ball ability is definitely something he'll get better at, but again, not the end of the world there. Red zone feel actually, I think it's more natural to him than anything, so there's a lot of potential here, but again, when we saw, in terms of, again, some of those, like, production standpoint, not great. Again, he doesn't run many routes, probably like 4 or 5. I think you see him pretty consistently, and that's just not going to really work in the league. He does get open pretty consistently at the top of the route. Not insane, though. His release is pretty good, actually, for a guy you might think wouldn't be that good. Like, again, with that acceleration getting off the line, he usually doesn't have trouble. He does make guys miss pretty consistently, again, those stop-and-go type of things. His hand fluidness is not great. He doesn't break tackles consistently. His running blocking, I don't think he really blocks at all. So, yeah. Athleticism is really good. I think he's probably, arguably, I mean, you'd probably even say elite. Probably one of the better athletes we'll be talking about today. His potential is solid, but again, I just complete freaking idiot, so I don't know what to tell you. Marvin Mims is my comparison for him because those guys both had very good yak abilities. But yeah, 74.3 for him. That's all I got for Isaiah.
Cranks it up, goes downfield, and gets it complete. Here goes Restrepo again, spinning his way.
Up next is Miami, that being Florida. One of their best receivers of all the time, that being Xavier. Restrepo, who is not the greatest size. It's actually kind of weird. I think he was like 5'9", but I guess not. And again, he's got actually decent, like, in terms of, like, you know, the girth. He's not too bad, but he doesn't play like it's too much. As a freshman, he didn't do anything. As a sophomore, didn't really do much, and I honestly didn't even know who he was in 2022, to be honest with you guys. I did in 2021, though. I watched some of his film, but didn't really get much into it at all in 2022. But then in 2023, I'm like, yeah, Miami kind of sucks, but, like, do they have a guy there? And I'm like, yeah, they do. And then last year, obviously, he was Cam Ward's #1 target. They had a very good connection there. And also, he really improved his yak ability and just overall, just, you know, I would say more explosive nature, which I really like. 16.3, a lot higher than his career average, which is good. So, yeah, again, really good stuff last year from him. But, again, overall, his prospect physically, he's just not NFL caliber, to be honest with you guys. That kind of sucks, like I had to say it, but it's just kind of the truth. But his hands have always been solid. They've never really, like, wowed me, though. I never think he'll be a guy that'll, you know, make these in, like, insane catches or just, like, completely just nab the ball in front of the air. It just won't happen. But down and out, basically, you can definitely rely on him. But the thing that makes Xavier Restrepo and keeps him around in this conversation, really the only reason he's in this video, is his route running is the best I've really seen in terms of the refinement and just precision. Out of anyone, I'd honestly say the past 8 drafts, somewhere around there. I mean, you could argue that JSN and I wouldn't say Marv, but you could argue JSN's route running is somewhat similar in some senses. But yeah, Xavier Restrepo, just every single route is perfect. Like, I wouldn't say perfect, but very, very close to that. Even his deep routes, guys, like, they're very, very consistent. Like, he doesn't miss any. Like, his steps are, like, always, like, it's in sync. Like, Cam Ward knows. Like, Cam Ward could be off timing, and he'll still be able to get the ball to Xavier Restrepo. It's insane. He's an elite route runner. It's not even close. Like, special stuff I saw from him again on film. Like, almost every single route. Like, yeah, that guy, he's hitting everything. Deep ball tracking is also really good. Definitely saw a lot more of that last year. His speed is below average, guys. He is not going to blow you by at all. Like, even in terms of the yak yardage, he's not going to, like, have the burners. His acceleration is definitely a little better. He does get off the line pretty decently. Can stop and start okay, but at the same time, with a guy who just doesn't have those wheels, it's kind of hard for him to, you know, be a consistent guy, but we'll see what happens. Route efficiency, I think, is decent. But in terms of the Hunter Renfrow type of comparison like that, yeah, that could definitely be considering the speed. But I think Hunter Renfrow is probably a little faster. Catch radius is decent. His jump ball ability I do like a lot. Again, for a guy who you might not think would be good there. Red zone fuel is awesome, just natural there. He can run a lot of different routes, but also it's not like insane. You have him like doing a 1-2-3 thing because he is limited in terms of his speed. That's again the biggest thing there. But outside of that, I mean, you can run anything in the book and run it well. At the top of the route. His separation ability is definitely lacking overall. Again, I'd like to say it's better, but again, it's really the fact, again, it's really the precision. Again, if cornerback's off step, he will beat them. But in terms of, again, if we're going lock and lock, it's not going to work out too well. His release has always been an issue for him. I think it's gotten a little bit better. You will be seeing him as a Z most likely. I'd probably say a slot, but again, with his routes, you kind of got to take it there. Elusiveness, he can make a guy miss once in a while, but still not great. Hand fluidness is decent, definitely refined for sure. Strength, he doesn't break tackles too well. His run blocking could definitely be better. I don't want to say he's a bad athlete, but he's just not NFL caliber, to be honest with you guys. Just overall, like on a down base, I'm like, yeah, that guy is just not going to stick in the NFL in terms of just bona fide athlete. But with him being such a good route runner, I don't know if it's going to be too much of an issue. I do like his potential overall, but again, when it comes down to being just a guy who just is just a subpar athlete, to be honest with you guys, it's going to hurt him. 74 grade for him. I got Jarvis Landry, who also wasn't the craziest athlete in the league, as many of you do know. You know, not getting to 1,000 yards and like 100 catches type things. That's all I got for him.
And they do snap it, and Kentucky blitzes up the middle. Dart throws a dart on the run. Tre Harris on his way to the end zone.
Up next is the Ole Miss prospect in Tre Harris, who had a pretty nice career for the Rebels. Again, 6'2", 204. He didn't really have that insane of a season until I'd probably say 2022. Yes, the rate with LA Tech, which I don't, it's just not good. In 2021, I did like his jump ball ability there. That's probably like the only like cool stuff to take away there. But yes, his red zone field really developed well in 2022, and of course that has led to back-to-back 7+ ton seasons in the SEC, where he is shown to be a very reliable receiver and has been the best receiver. I don't care about Watkins and all those other guys at Ole Miss, and Jackson Dart has loved playing with him. I will, but it is important to say he only played in 8 games, which again with the injury and stuff, there's some concerns there. But overall, still a pretty good, solid player. Yeah, also Xavier Restrepo 4.83. I kind of forgot about that, but yeah, I mean, if you run that slow at 40, guys, like it's kind of hard to be considered too well. Anyway, though, his hands are, I'm not gonna say they're glued, but they're pretty much that. He doesn't drop passes really at all, but again, at the same time, he doesn't go out and make insane ones. So you kind of gotta go with it. His route running is definitely flawed overall. He doesn't run good intermediate routes at all. Those in routes, those semi-in routes, even you could say, are really never like on point, and that's just not going to work in the league. His short routes I don't think are too bad though. Again, definitely limited, but like you're going to get a decent route from him pretty consistently. His deep routes just really isn't there. Maybe there's one out of every like 5 routes he'll run pretty precise, but outside of that, just not there. Okay, deep ball tracking, his speed is definitely NFL caliber. Acceleration, good. I think he'd definitely be better though. Route efficiency is not great. You'll usually throw and he'll have to catch up to it. His catch rate is actually solid. I like his jump ball ability a lot, which again does help him a lot in terms of the not being the greatest route runner. His red zone feel is absolutely insane. Really just because the past 2 seasons, he just gets in those zones. I will say Jackson Dart doesn't really have any. I'll say the bad part about Lane Kiffin's offense is they never really utilize his trait really that too much. But again, if they let Jackson read out a lot in the red zone specifically, a lot more, again, they didn't really have to because they got a lot more big play touchdowns. But if they let him read plays out a little bit more, Tre Harris would have had like 20 touchdowns, to be honest with you guys. Great. He doesn't run too many routes. Again, that's kind of like Kiffin offense. I can't really get too deep into it. But at the same time, do you really think he's going to be a guy who really going to be running 8 or 9 different routes in one play? Have the ability to? Probably not. He does create actually not too bad amount of separation. The problem is he's just not very consistent with it. There are plays where he just gets completely locked up at the top of the route, and it's frustrating to watch. It's probably why you don't see too many of those type of routes. His release is solid. His elusiveness, again, is okay. He does break tackles pretty well. I do like his hand fluidness, definitely. I'm gonna say like a refined, but I definitely think they've worked on that with him. His run blocking he'll get in the guy's way. Athleticism is definitely, I'm probably saying like dead average or a little bit below average. His potential, I don't love him overall, but again, 17.9 grade for Michael Thomas, who did turn out to be pretty good for a little bit. But yeah, Tre Harris has some good things going for him.
2nd and 9, looks left and then goes deep, wide open and into the end zone is Matthew Golden.
Next is the guy who's had an exploding draft stock in Matthew Golden, similar to a guy like we know, Tank Dell. But yeah, after 2 underwhelming seasons at Houston, he had a very nice senior season ish with Texas, where he had 58 catches, 987 yards, and 9 touchdowns, which I'm not going to really act like all those touchdowns were created equal, but on a down-to-down basis, they were very good, again, very good snaps. But yeah, he was definitely Texas's more reliable receiver, to be honest with you guys. But yeah, again, he's faster than Isaiah Bond, as many people might not think. But yeah, overall, Matthew Golden, for a guy you might not think, especially with the tape that if you would have just saw it with him coming in as a freshman, he wouldn't be a good route runner. He's a really good route runner. I wouldn't say as good as a guy like maybe I wouldn't even say Nick Nash. I think they're very similar. But yeah, but let's say that his hands are really reliable. Short routes are very good. He's going to very consistently create separation. Medium routes are a little bit worse, and then the deep routes are a little bit worse too. Again, usually natural progression you see with a guy who's a little bit more of a burner. Deep ball tracking is decent. I like his speed a lot because he does have special speed, fastest guy in the draft. More or less is probably a special guy in terms of his burners, but I think I can give it to him. I was struggling about giving him a 93, but considering I think he's a decent bit faster than I'd say about, not that much faster, but a decent bit. I think that does give him that a special grade there. Acceleration, good. I think in terms of the top end speed, I think it does take him a little bit longer to get to if we're going to talk about a ratio there. Route efficiency is good. I'm not really the biggest fan of his catch radius. Kind of work with that. Jump ball ability, extra his size is really awesome to watch. Red zone feel is decent. Really just kind of raw with that. Still working on that. His route nuance is just really we didn't get to see too much of it, to be honest with you. At the top of his route, he does create decent separation. But when I talk about decent, it's like a freaking whole 2 yards. So you can go any way you want with that. Release, I don't really care about. To be honest with you, again, with a guy like him, just put be a Z. He does break, again, I don't even say break tackles. I think he just creates space on his own really well. Hand fluidness is just something he never has been that good at, so we'll see if he can get better there. Again, Doesn't break tackles too much is probably the biggest thing I could say there. It's not great. He can definitely get taken down pretty easily even by smaller guys, which is, again, a little bit of an issue. Run blocking, I'm not going to say it's atrocious, but it's just not very good. I will say the technique is definitely, for a college-level player, isn't awful. Athleticism is really good. He's obviously, I like his potential a lot. I'm going to give a 79.1 for him. Garrett Wilson, pretty good comparison. I will say Garrett Wilson, in terms of the speedster type of thing, hasn't really evolved, so we'll see if Matthew Golden can do the exact same thing. We'll see, though.
He's after that first drive. Howard squares. Howard fires. Caught. Touchdown, Ohio State. Emeka Egbuka.
2 guys to go, and the first guy we'll be talking about is Ohio State's receiver. He's been around a little bit longer than I would have liked. I kind of thought he was going to leave after his junior season, which I think he probably not. He probably shouldn't have either. Because Ladd McConkey was even a better prospect than him. What was Ladd McConkey was he second round, something like that. Anyway, though, for Ohio State last year, he was their best overall offensive player, and outside of Jeremiah Smith, which again kind of overshadowed him a little bit. But his route running improved so much from 2023, where he just really didn't get the snaps, to be honest with you guys, our targets. 2022, though, he was that featured Tex, Ohio State receiver. I think you could argue he was better than at JSN in some ways, but really wasn't. But the separation has really improved a lot, and I mean, I don't know how you don't like Emeka Egbuka after a very, very solid senior season. But yeah, I like, again, he stayed next year was a lot more development. Again, they gave him the targets, and he had a pretty good season overall. Again, an offense with Will Howard, who might not have been the greatest quarterback for him, to be honest with you. With that said, though, Emeka has decent hands. He's always been a guy who is prone to dropping passes, but isn't, again, it's still, like, it's something he's definitely, again, kind of like, meh, out of his, in terms of his weaknesses. We talk about his route running across the board. I just think it's really good, again, just refined. But I never think he'll be a guy that'll have, like, this advanced, like, overall, like, yeah, he's going to run that route very consistently. I will say the consistency in his routes aren't always there, but in terms of the precision on a down-to-down basis it's definitely high level. Deep ball tracking, I don't love it. His speed is definitely really good, but it's not insane. He's got definitely good acceleration. I do like his route efficiency, but again, like we talked about the deep ball tracking, didn't get to see too much of it, and there are times where I'm like, yeah, I kind of lost that ball. But his route efficiency is really, really good. When you talk about, again, all these routes, he gets through them very, very well. Yes, if he takes a bad step, that's probably the one thing that'll hurt him, but in terms of like step for step, very good. Catch radius, not great. He does have a decent jump ball ability, again, for a guy who's just not going to really be known for that. Rather than feel underrated, still not insane, though. His route nuance is it's on crack, I guess. I don't think I've seen a guy who is running, until we talk about hot routes, he'd probably like 8 or 9 different, no, I'm going to say 10. There were some games, especially, again, when we talk about the playoff run, there were 10, I got to say, there was at least 10 different things he could run, looking at Ryan Day's playbook. Separation, solid. His release has never been the big part of his game. He's going to be a Z. Elusiveness, I'm not, again, I don't really care, to be honest with you guys. Hand fluence is really advanced, but it still could be even better. He doesn't break tackles. His run blocking could be better. Yeah, good athletic, good potential. Overall, it's a really refined process. We got just 79.2. Probably the difference between him and Matt Golden. JSN's comparison, though, because very, very similar route trees. That's all I got for Emeka, though.
Colorado. Pressure coming. Stewart gets out a dart, complete to Hunter. On the move, showing him his shoe bottoms.
All right, if you haven't watched my cornerback video, go watch it. But again, this is going to answer if you think I think he's, again, at least graded out better as a cornerback or a receiver. I think you can already get to that answer. But anyway, Travis Hunter, if you don't know, he won the Heisman. He's the best prospect in this draft, I think, pretty handily. I mean, he plays 2 positions. Probably should be pretty good. Again, injury-riddled first season in Colorado, still pretty solid, though. Last year popped off, won the Heisman. You know all about that insane season. And grading amount of receiver, again, just trying to get through these quick. He's got really good hands, guys. I mean, it's very obvious. He makes a lot of very tough catches. His short routes, probably the best part of his game. I think that's definitely the part of the game he's definitely worked on the most in terms of getting we talk about route running, guys. I don't care how good of a receiver you are, you're going to have to work on this. And again, despite him maybe not having the same, like, in terms of like overall hours, because again, he plays 2 positions that you might want to see him put in. Definitely pretty consistent there. Medium routes and deep routes do leave a little bit more to be desired, but in terms of, again, if we're talking about climbing up the, again, on the route and just in terms of overall, again, honestly, like consistency, you can't say it's bad because it's just not. Very good deep ball tracking. I think it could be even better, though. It just comes to the fact, again, the experience with the quarterback. Again, just didn't get to see too much of it, but overall, it's really good. Speed, obviously, 93, going to get the just kind of speed and acceleration. Probably just going to give you guys the default we had with cornerback. So you can see my thoughts on that over there. Route efficiency actually is really, really good. This just comes naturally for him. His catch radius is really good. Jump ball ability is also really good. Red zone feel, he just has it. I don't know what it is, but in the red zone, he just gets to his spots and just makes plays. Pretty simple. Creativity, route nuance, again, he is limited just for a guy you're just not going to see that too much out of. He does create a good amount of separation. Not elite amount, but still really good. His release is something he has always just not been the greatest at, but I will say for a guy who can coming in again when you look at his sophomore season, again first year at Colorado in D1 football, I think he definitely improved on it a lot. Elusiveness, he does again, he can break tackles. It's nothing insane though. Hand fluidness, just not really a big part of his game yet because again he doesn't have the reps. I'm gonna give you guys that excuse every single time because I think again if he did have the reps, he'd be probably a 95, something like that as a receiver. But his strength is good. His run blocking is okay. I mean, he gets in guys' ways. Athleticism, same thing. Potential, same thing as the last time. You got an 85.5. So, yes, he is a better cornerback. Devontae Smith's comparison because, they run, just run similar. That's all I got for Travis. Let's get to these overall rankings. First guy we talked about today was Tez Johnson, who, again, had a very solid senior season in Oregon after, again, a really good after transferring with, again, in 2023. Again, that 2023 season, I do think helps him a lot in terms of, again, what we saw in terms of his route nuance. But overall, Tez Johnson's a really fun guy. And, again, should be a solid player in the league if he gets the snaps. Jack Bech, I like a lot. Breaks tackles, fun to watch, but at the same time doesn't have that elite speed that could hurt him at times. Jayden Higgins also doesn't have that elite speed, but the body control and just overall contested catchability will keep him in the league a long time. You got Luther Burden, who again just didn't really have the season you wanted out of him last year, but again still like insane yak threat, has great acceleration. He should be a guy who sticks around for a while. Tet McMillan, probably the best overall, again, if we're talking about guaranteed receiver in this draft. Again, has a lot of good things going for him. Really just at the top of the route separation, something he could work on. Elic, Ayomanor, yeah, there we go. Not a fun guy. He's boring to watch. Kind of goes down when he catches the ball, but, like, work with it. Isaiah Bond, again, kind of just not a very bright individual, but he's got a lot of talent, so you got to give him that. Xavier Restrepo, like I said, kind of the opposite. Doesn't really have too much talent, but, again, he's a very, very good route runner. He works on it all the time. He's a good player. Like, you got to give him that. Tre Harris, 73.9. Yeah, he's a guy. We had Matthew Golden, who's, again, the fastest receiver we'll talk about today. And, of course, Emeka Egbuka, 79.2. Very refined route runner after what we saw, again, first couple years at Ohio State. And then we got Travis Hunter, again. Travis Hunter. So, yeah, look at the overall rankings. Again, these are only top 12. We'll probably get more into it when we get to, again, we look at the draft overall. When that does iron out on Sunday. But we got Trav Hunter. Again, 85.5, so yes, he's still, what is that, boomer or bust? I'm going to probably just still say starter day one if he's a receiver. Tet McMillan, 80.6, also probably will be a starter day one, but I just don't know if he might not be like this amazing player in his rookie season. I think I can be comfortable with that saying. Emeka Egbuka, I like a lot, but at the same sort of thing, I don't know whatever team he goes to if he'll get those targets. Matthew Golden should actually get, honestly, if we're talking about all four of these guys, he might be the guy that gets the most targets just because of his speed, but at the same time, has some stuff to work on. Luther Burden, good underneath guy, again. We'll see how that advances there. Jack Beck I like a lot. Jayden Higgins, similar type of thing. Tez Johnson, Isaiah Bond are both fun too. Xavier Restrepo, again, just limited as an athlete overall. Tre Harris and Ayomanor round out this list. Hope you guys enjoyed this top 12 2025 NFL draft. Wide receiver prospect rankings. Again, you can see the quarterbacks tomorrow. And yeah, happy Easter, I guess. Yeah. Yes. See ya tomorrow for the quarterbacks.
Maryland. Duvernay will bring it out. Got a block from Hill.